Listen, I don't want to talk about my t-shirt. I don't want to talk about it. It's washing day. I'd much rather you didn't bring it up in the rest of the video. Or in the comments, okay? I know that this shames me. This shames me as a person, but I don't want to hear about it, okay? Okay, so what's today's video about? Well, today's video is about burnout and dealing with personal stress. So when I'm going to tell you a story now. It's story time. Ed comes in with story time. When I worked in London, I worked a very stressful job, and although it gave me a lot of the experience that I'd like to use in the rest of my career, I'm grateful for that. It was an incredibly intense working environment. I'm sure many of you out there know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'd never really dealt with stress of that magnitude, and by that I mean I'd never been through a problem or dealt with a situation that I couldn't handle, and London and my job was the first time where I really felt that I couldn't. That was a very difficult experience for me. Hello mate, how you doing? Now many of you might find yourselves in college or school or in jobs, and it gets to the point where you think, you know what, I just can't deal with it. Just like I couldn't deal with that guy effectively. Where's this guy gone? I just can't deal with this. It's too stressful, and you get to the point which I call burnout, right? So what burnout essentially means is that your entire self just can't deal with anything anymore. Like everything gets on top of you, and you can't relax and you can't sleep. That was quite common for me, like insomnia and things like that, and being overstimulated. And I'm going to share with you just some small things that hello mate, fucking hell, what are you trying to do with your life? Just some small things that I've found that help me. This might not be a surprise to you, but one of the things that really helped me in the past has been video games, actually. And, oh dear, that was crazy. Sorry, I was interrupted there rudely by a game. So yeah, one of the things that really helped me learn to relax and learn to... Oh, shit. Bob and weave, Ed! Look at this shit. Oh my god, that guy's gonna have fucking nightmares, just like me and my stress dreams. Right, so yeah, one of the things that helped me was video games, and we all play video games. That's why you're here, that's why you're watching this video. So yeah, video games were there for me when, like, my life was just fucking terrible. They really helped turn my mind off. Like, I don't know if anybody else has this kind of problem, but I just ran in front of a train. One thing you shouldn't do with stress is run in front of trains. There's many of you out there that will know what I mean when I say, like, I have an overactive mind, and I'm sure there's many of you watching this that also feel the same way. Like, you can never turn your mind off. It's always talking. It's never, not like voices, not like, oh, you're crazy, Ed, but like, it just doesn't turn off. One of the things that really helped me with that was leisure activities, because I don't know if any of you are the same, but when you're really working hard and it's your first real job in your career, you want to do really well, and I did as well. And I just worked all the time, and I actually didn't do many things for fun. Give me that DSR. One of my big escapes was YouTube, actually, I have to say. Like, watching my favourite YouTubers and stuff really helped me relax and calm down. And I did that in a period where, like, as I've said previously in the video, my life was pretty shit, actually. So you might not use YouTube and gaming to turn your mind off. You might use the gym. That's probably a better way of doing it, if I'd be perfectly honest. Like, I wish I'd really got into, like, personal fitness instead of, oh, look at the DPI of this mouse and the cherry switches in this. I don't even know what a cherry switch is. Do you know what I mean? I go on about how good the PC Master Race is, but I have no idea what the fucking switches are in my keyboard, and everyone seems to obsess about it. I really wish I'd obsessed about lifting, like, gains. Like, I was obsessed with gains and not this shit. So how do you know when you're burnt out? Well, it's fairly simple. You won't be able to do anything. I'll tell you a little story about what happened to me in London. So I was working 13, 14, 15-hour days, and I was like commuting to and from London. So I had 2 hours journey time every day to and from work on top of a really long day. Yeah, I wish I'd had like some of the experience that I now have as I'm older, so I could have dealt with that better. I could have learned, like, you're pushing yourself too far, you're burning the candle at both ends, as it were. But I didn't. You know, I was in my mid-20s, I was working in London, I was working in an amazing place, like doing work that I really wanted to do, and I just worked my ass off for like a whole year. So when you're in that scenario, you don't think, oh, I better take it easy, you know, I better like not burn myself out. But you will. Our experiences aren't the same, so you won't be like working in London necessarily, or you won't be doing what I did. You will have similar problems, whether that be exams or whether that be university or whether that be anything that's really stressful. If you're anything like me, the first time that really happens to you, you won't know how to deal with it. You won't know how to comprehend that. You won't know what's happening to you. You'll think you're fine. That's the sad thing about it. I've spoken about it before. You'll think you're absolutely fine, but you're not. Typical Dave. I'm talking about breakdowns and he puts me on a map called Meltdown. Thanks, Dave. Thanks. Yeah, the first time it happens to you, you'll think you're fine, and you really won't be. And if you're ambitious and you want to do something cool with your life, you'll be put in a scenario where you're very stressed out. And if I'd killed that first guy there, I would have been able to kill this guy with his lovely pink gun. But, you know, I have to give that guy props, actually. Pink guns are very manly. That's not a hate comment, that's just true. I do feel that way about pink guns. Pink guns are my favourite. Ed is a fan of pink guns. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's how to be a fan of pink. Are you going to jump out that fucking window, you crazy person? Yes, you did. Wow. So how did I grow up and learn to deal with that stress? Well, I didn't in that job. As I've mentioned before, like, my life kind of collapsed. My girlfriend broke up with me and I was left alone in this flat to, like, deal with my own shit. And that's not that fun. Hence video games, right? Hence YouTube. That's why I got into that kind of stuff and I got wrecked. Danny, can you not wreck me, please, mate? I'm trying to tell a fucking story. Actually learning to turn my mind off was something I really needed to do. I've just been fucking DE_stroyed. 7 and 10? 7 and 10? Come on, team. I've got like 4 of these fucking kills. I have a very addictive personality, so when I got into YouTube, I really got into YouTube. I really did. I watched a lot of content. I watched, you know, Onslaught, I watched Bendro, I watched Hutch, I watched all the classics, boys, all the greatest hits of COD YouTube. And that was my favourite era because, give me that shit. Give me the Liam cannon. This is so hard to use, shit. No? That wouldn't happen to Liam. This right here, point blank, would not happen to Liam. Maybe it is hard to use. My team's getting wrecked and I'm trying to do a video. Thank you guys. Zip! Can we just take a moment? There was a guy 0 and 10 and 0 and 5 on my team. Can we just... I'm finding this very stressful, guys. I don't know if I can deal with it. Fucking retire forever. I'm going to kill myself for that. I don't suggest that. I don't suggest suicide as a solution to your problems. The stress didn't get to me then. I wasn't having a mini breakdown at all. Don't jump shot me. That's a C4. God! Sometimes life... It's just a C4 at the end of the corridor. So going back to stress and burnout, how do you deal with it? So I used an example for me, how I dealt with it. Ignoring it, actually, is, you know, this is a terrible advice video. I don't know where this came from. I ignored it. I didn't. I learned to deal with it. Do you know what the hardest part for me was? I can't believe I've just killed you both. The hardest part for me was learning to let go of the fact that I failed. Actually, that was the hardest part. That's where stress will get people, is if you're like, no, actually, I can't deal with this right now. A lot of people aren't comfortable either, 1, admitting that, or 2, doing that. They're just not, people just aren't wired that way. We're taught, like, no, you must be able to handle everything all the time, and if you can't, you're some sort of failure. The road to success is paved with failure. And that is absolutely true. I just got fucking destroyed. He should kill me if I'm on the other side of the universe with that gun. Don't think you're going to turn on me, fam. That's my job. Head down. Get through here. Kill this guy. Carry on with this story. See, I've given myself a list. That's one of the things you can do to help yourself. Create lists. No, what am I talking about? I'm talking shit now. Haven't you always, Ed? So yeah, now I deal with stress much better. So I accept that there's some things that I just can't change, right? There's some things that will happen to you in your work life and your personal life that you have absolutely no control over. That's not saying that you should just be like, fuck it, you know, the universe takes care of us all. No, that's not... It's not that either. What it is saying, though, is that sometimes when shit happens, you've just got to accept it. And you've just got to be like, right, well, I couldn't have done anything about that. You fucking peasant. Your C4 and your fucking scorpion. This is stressing me out. How am I going to deal with this? I'm going to let it go. See? Advice in action here. Right, all successful people that I've known or I've talked to about something like this, they never let these massive periods of supposed failure get to them. They're just like, fuck it, on to the next thing. I know businessmen who have owned so many businesses that have failed, and they've gone into administration, they've gone into debt, and you'd think that would crush people, right? But it doesn't. These people, they just don't stop. They never stop. They're just like, well, you know, that didn't work out. I thought it was a good idea, but for whatever reason it didn't happen, and I'm on to the next thing now. And they just leave they leave failure behind. They don't internalize it. They don't take it on board. They don't see it as this personal judgment against themselves and like, oh well, I failed in this instance, so I will fail in all others. They're just not made like that. They just get on with it. They just, right, well, what am I doing next? Well, next I'm going to do this startup, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this. I'm loath to call them job creators, but go out and create businesses and products. They don't do that. They don't internalize their failure. They're just like, no, sometimes shit happens. And I suppose that's an incredibly simplistic message that I'm telling you, like how I learned to get over these things, but it's absolutely true. Whatever you do, don't do what I did, which is when I failed, I thought it was the end of the world, and it really isn't. It can't be. That could not be further from the truth. It's never the end. There's always a chance. Fuck your fucking C4. Did he kill himself? Oh my god. He blew up his C4 and it killed him. See? I was failing earlier in the game. I let it go, and now that guy using the C4 on the Scorpion C4'd himself. If that's not a fucking victory, I don't know what is. So yeah, if you're feeling stressed and you're feeling like you're burnt out and you can't seem to manage to do anything and shit's not going your way, just think that this is going to happen many times throughout your life. No, don't think that. That might upset you. Think that this one in particular, do the best you can, and if it doesn't work out, just move on, man. Just move on.